Ah yes, another what is Ash Ketchum's best team video. Haven't we seen enough of these already? You just take Pikachu and his main aces from each team and slap them together and voila, his best team. Well, that would be the case if we were going with his best team in the anime. But that's not actually his best team now, is it? When I mean the best team, I'm talking about his best team competitively, strategically. A team that you or I could take into an actual Pokemon video game tournament of single battles and be like, huh, you know, maybe I can actually do a thing or two with this team. Cause let's be honest, I don't mean to throw disrespect on the boy champion Ash here during National Ash Ketchum Day, but my lord do his Pokemon stink competitively. Ash of course doesn't evolve all of his Pokemon fully, which you know, Pokemon like Bulbasaur and Weasel don't really wish to evolve, and that's great and all, but you'll never hear any player in the real world go and take a Boldore to a VGC tournament, even if it had an Eviolite slapped onto it. And even if certain Pokemon are great, their movesets won't allow them to be too versatile in battle. You can't pull a counter shield mid-battle to compensate for the lack of versatile moves and win the battle this way. Nah, we're looking for a proper moveset, as best as we can with the moves that his Pokemon have or had, because if I had the full move pool of each Pokemon open, it no longer really becomes a team of his Pokemon. So here's what we're going to do. To celebrate the second annual recognition of Ash Ketchum Day, we'll be making a video on Ash's best team strategically, what his best team would be on paper. And to do this, we'll be taking a look at every Pokemon he's captured. Pokemon he's released are on the tables as well, assuming that he can recall them upon meeting them again. But Pokemon that he's temporarily owned or traveled with will not count. We're only going to be using fully evolved Pokemon to maximize on base stat totals, and we'll also be factoring in each Pokemon's move pool as shown in the anime. This way, we can create a team that's diverse in typing and one that can also hit every type back. So without further ado, let's get on with Ash's true best team. Oh, also, this video was scripted on September 3rd, so if any drastic changes occur to Ash's team after this date, it won't be in the video. So let's start off with the process of elimination. From my count, there's a total of 54 Pokemon that Ash can call by our rules, and of those 54, 16 of them are not fully evolved. And seeing as none of them are like Chansey or Dusclops, who we can slap an Eviolite on, all 16 of them are getting cut from the team. And yes, that includes Pikachu. Like I said before, this team isn't some Pokemon anime kind of world where the power of friendship will persevere and overcome all obstacles. Nah, screw that. Straight up statistics is what we're looking for. And unfortunately, Pikachu's base stats don't cut it. Now you could give it a light ball and see from there, but then if we look at its move pool, it's not doing a whole lot with just electric, normal, and steel type moves, especially when we have other Pokemon on his team with those moves. You could argue that Ash's Pikachu would be considered the partner Pikachu, and that if we gave it the light ball to this Pikachu, it would be much stronger than most other Pokemon. And you would be right. However, as beefed up as Ash's Pikachu is, it's not able to learn the exclusive partner Pikachu moves that it could in the Let's Go games. If Ash's Pikachu had those base stat totals and those moves, then yes, it would be on the team for sure. But without one or the other, this is one team where unfortunately, our lovable little ketchup loving friend does not make the list. So, we're down to 38 Pokemon, and of these 38, most of them have utterly terrible move pools. This means either move pools with barely any coverage, like a moveset that just consists of 2 or so typings, or they don't even have 4 moves in their move pool yet. All of these Pokemon are getting cut from the list immediately, and let me tell you, there's a bunch of them. The following Pokemon that are getting cut from the list for bad move pools are as follows: Butterfree, Pidgeot, Kingler, Primeape, Muck, it only knows 2 moves, Tauros, Lapras, Heracross, Donphan, Swallow, Sceptile, Torkoal, Glalie, yeah, his entire home team kinda sucks, Torterra, Unfezant, Leavanny, Hawlucha, it knows 3 flying type moves and X-Scissor, Noivern, Lycanroc, Incineroar, Melmetal, Mr. Mime, Dragonite, unless you're cool running Dragonats for 1 move, and Hurricane without the rain, Lucario, gotcha with the thumbnail didn't I, and it only knows fighting type moves. Don't get mad at the thumbnail, because it's way more fun without spoilers this way. Sirfetch'd and Dracovish. Now, I can't explain the reasons for all the cuts in the video, but I'm sure if you take a look at their move pools and look at it from a more realistic angle, I'm sure you'll see why your favorite Ash Ketchum mon has been cut from the list. So, who is left remaining from this list? From 54 to 38, we're now down to just 12. And of those 12, we'll be taking 6. And of those 12, we have Charizard, of course, Snorlax, courtesy of the Aura Guardian, Noctowl, don't freak out, I'll talk about this later, Staraptor, the most used regional bird for a reason, Infernape, cause Mach Punch goes brr, Gliscor, Sinnoh just seems to be Pog, Crocodile, at least Unova has one good mon, Greninja, gee, what a shocker, Talonflame, cause Charizard isn't the only good fire and flying type, Goodra, yes, Cal's team was also pretty stacked, Naganadel, cause he became champion for a reason, and finally, Gengar, cause if the anime won't put respect on his name, then we will. These are the 12 that I consider to be his only viable team members going into this list. Two things that I want to point out before we continue. The most glaring thing here is that no matter how you spin this team, there is no way to have a perfect team balance, as there are many overlapping typings. In fact, the only ones who have unique typings are Infernape, Greninja, and Gengar, with the fighting, water, and ghost typings respectively. Everywhere else, there's some kind of overlap one way or another, but we're gonna do our best to make use of what we have. The second thing here is, just because I consider these 12 Pokemon to have the best movesets among Ash's Pokemon, it doesn't mean that they actually have good moves. Most of them are still pretty trash one way or another. It's just that these guys have the best out of the bunch. You can check and gauge it for yourself, but I don't think you're finding anything better than what I have here. We'll cover each Pokemon one at a time, but of these 12, let's just get this out of the way. Noctowl is unfortunately not making the cut. I genuinely think Noctowl had a shot with Hypnosis and Whirlwind, but Noctowl's base stat total isn't too great. While I do think my technicality is better than Pikachu, I also think that even though it made the cut, if Pikachu couldn't be on here, Noctowl shouldn't be on here either. Sorry buddy, at least you always shine with your shiny form. So, that's the worst mon out of the 12. But of the 12, who is the one Pokemon that for sure deserves to be on this list more than anyone else? I'll let you all take your guesses. Yeah, it's Greninja. You can't deny it. Even in-game, Greninja is Ash's best Pokemon. In fact, it's one of his only actual Pokemon, as you can get an actual Ash-Greninja in the game. Like, they literally made canon mention of this character in a different universe, just so they can add the form of Greninja into the game. And they took it a step further with the Battle Bound ability, because they gave Greninja a bigger buff than any Mega Pokemon has received, if I'm not mistaken. A stat total increase of 110. That's insane. There's a reason why Ash-Greninja is banned from actual VGC tournaments, but if Ash entered the ring with one, I'm sure he'd be allowed, because that's his very own Pokemon, dang it. The only compensation for this is that Ash's Greninja has what I would consider to be a terrible moveset, consisting of the offensive moves of Cut, Aerial Ace, and Water Shuriken, which, yeah, not the best, but I'm telling you, you'll see this with most of Ash's Pokemon. But it does have double team, so screw Evasion Claws, because you're not attacking this thing. I think you need to take out a Pokemon first to activate Battle Bond, but as long as Greninja isn't the first Pokemon being sent out, I think Ash has it in the bag, so once again, Greninja is the center of the show. By throwing Ash-Greninja into a team builder like my Pokemon team, as a Water and Dark type, we can see that we need something to cover a few different typings, like Bug, Grass, and Fairy. And Gengar is actually a really good counter for this. I'm keeping up with Pokemon Journeys on Twitter, and I gotta say, Gengar isn't getting the respect it deserves, especially since it's one of Ash's best Pokemon in both base stat total and moveset wise. Even with frickin' Ice Punch. It's not doing all that much with the base 65 Ice Punch, but it doesn't need to. Considering the rest of his team, Shadow Ball and Psychic are good enough. And even if he doesn't know what to hit a Pokemon with, Nightshade is there as long as it's not a normal type. Again, not a top tier Gengar moveset, but it's up there in terms of Ash Ketchum movesets. Immune to normal and fighting, as it's Ghost and Poison of course, but without any stat poison type moves. Thankfully though, we'll take care of that in a bit. With Gengar, if we take a look at our team now, we're not doing too great in terms of coverage, but we're doing pretty well defensively. However, it doesn't matter which Pokemon I add next, we're gonna run some hiccups with defense, so just bear with me for some time. The next Pokemon I want to add to this list is Crocodile. Crocodile is vital on this team for its moveset. The three moves we're eyeing here are Dig, Crunch, and Stone Edge, ground, rock, and dark type moves that we won't be getting from anywhere else. and even more so important since Rock and Ground are great offensively. Its fourth move can either be Aerial Ace or Dragon Claw. It doesn't really matter here, but we'll just say Dragon Claw for now. We also gain the immunity to Electric and a second immunity to Psychic, which is always nice. And the best part is, Ash's Krookodile doesn't have an ability confirmed, and it's most likely not Anger Point, as it's a hidden ability, so we'll say it's Moxie for now. But either way, Intimidate is also very helpful. Looking at this team now, a Flying type could take care of most of the defensive threats on this list, and give us a nice ground immunity, and Ash has many of them. Charizard, Staraptor, Gliscor, and Talonflame. But alas, only one of them is making it on this list. I want to save this spot for last, as it does eliminate almost half the competition. But to show off the team's charts in a progressive manner, I must get to this spot next. And for the Pokemon that gets rid of half this list, we have Charizard. Yeah, the thumbnail wasn't a complete lie. Now, let me make this clear. Charizard isn't on here just because it's Charizard. It's actually on here because it makes the most sense to have on this team. And you'll see that there's no room for any of the other flying types later on. Yes, Talonflame and Charizard are both fire and flying types, so why did I choose Charizard over Talonflame? And that again comes down to its movesets. The combination of Charizard's typing and one specific move is what helps us cover a lot of things on this list. And Talonflame unfortunately does not have that. Flame Body is much better than the ability Blaze, if that's what Charizard has. But Charizard also does have around 30 stat points higher than Talonflame. If Ash's Talonflame had Gale Wings, then I think I actually would have made the switch. But unfortunately, it doesn't. So here we have Charizard coming in to take care of the areas the team is struggling in. And what is this one move that Charizard is going to be so incredibly special for? It's Submission. Submission. A move that I never thought I would mention in a video like this. And a move that I'm sure most of you don't even remember exists. Submission is a not so great fighting type move in terms of both accuracy and recoil. But it's either this or Seismic Toss. And seeing how Seismic Toss doesn't actually do fighting type damage, we have Submission. The reason why Submission is so vital is because we don't have any other Pokemon with the fighting type move. And while it might not be that crazy, in case of something like a Slacking comes out, we need a fighting type move to potentially take care of it. And yes, if you haven't realized by now, Infernape isn't on this list either. I really did try my best to make Infernape work, as Mach Punch would have been fantastic. But whichever way I spun it, Infernape just does not help the team in any combination of these 12 Pokemon as much as another Pokemon would. And again, we're not looking for sentiments here, only statistics. So Sinnoh fans, I'm sorry, but Charizard knocked out all three of your hopes with just its sheer existence. For Charizard's other moves, we'll be having Flamethrower, Steel Wing for fairy coverage, and either Wing Attack or Dragon Tail. Again, it's the same thing with Krookodile, but since we gave Krookodile Dragon Claw, we'll give Charizard Wing Attack. But you're free to switch around the two, or even give it Slash if you really want to. Now our team is looking great. We have coverage for almost everything except water, and we're only weak to a few different typings. So who's the next Pokemon to take care of this? Well, that's Naganadel, obviously. Naganadel is actually the second Pokemon I wanted to talk about, but it wouldn't have made much sense to jump the gun that far. But Naganadel is definitely up there with Greninja as a Pokemon that Ash has to have. It's an Ultra Beast with some crazy good stats, and more than anything, this is one team member that Ash has where I can say, yes, 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 finally, somewhat of a good moveset. Thunderbolt, X Scissors, Sludge Bomb, Dragon Pulse, oh my god, it's too good to be true. This is almost like a perfect moveset, for the only glaring thing being, of course, is that X Scissor is a physical move. But hey, you know what? I ain't complaining at all. We could have Goodra here, but Goodra opens up a few weaknesses that we won't be able to cover. Dragon specifically for both Naganadel and Goodra, as we don't have a Steel or Fairy type here. But with Goodra, we could have had an extra Fairy type weakness, which we don't want. And we don't have that great of a move pool. We needed to make up for Pikachu's lack of presence on this team, and Gengar's lack of poison type moves. And man, did Naganadel do the job. And with that, our team is looking great. And there's only one more slot left for the team, and only one Pokemon left to fill that slot. And that, of course, is Snorlax. And not just because the Aura Guardian said so. Snorlax is his team's answer to Ice-type Pokemon, as once again, Ash's Snorlax has not been confirmed to have any said ability. If it was immunity, I think we would have seen it by now, and Gluttony is also its hidden ability. So with that, I think again, it makes sense for it to have Thick Fat. It would explain why it's able to take hits so well after all. Snorlax will serve as the only real tank of this team, and it also gives us a ghost immunity, which is always a nice touch. Remember how I said we won't need to worry about Gengar's Ice Punch? Well, that's because Snorlax is gonna have it, along with Rest, Protect, and Body Slam. I did say that if a Pokemon has nothing but the same type of moves, it wouldn't make this list, but Snorlax is something that many of Ash's Pokemon do not, and those are status moves. Rest and Protect especially, for something like Snorlax, if it's holding leftovers, can be fantastic to use. And Body Slam also has a good chance of paralysis. And if you add Snorlax to the roster, after limitations of movesets and evolutions, and weighting down the best combination of his remaining Pokemon, you get what I discovered to be Ash's best possible team competitively. And potentially, even his best team within the anime. Without Pikachu, of course. Now I do want to point out that, if Lucario does end up learning more diverse moves, it would arguably fit the team better than Snorlax. And seeing how it's a new Pokemon of his, it still has the potential to learn better moves. See, the thumbnail wasn't a complete lie. I also did try various different team combinations, and there was one that looked like it was gonna really work, which had Gliscor in the mix, but ultimately, I couldn't find any combination that was as well-rounded as the team we currently have. I tried a whole bunch of things, and this was the best team that I could come up with. And if you don't believe me, then I dare you to try. Find a team combination that works well defensively, has fantastic stats across the board, and also has the team coverage necessary for every single type. And I can almost guarantee you'll land upon this one. But if you do find another team that works, please do let me know, and maybe even make a video on it, cause I am genuinely quite eager to know. But as far as I can tell, on the occasion of the second annual recognition of Ash Ketchum Day, this will be the best team that we could face off against in a battle against Champion Ash.